Hello, Harry here from Conversion Pipeline. Today we're going to go over a couple of simple updates for your WordPress website. And I've got our sample site up here, cosmetichealthline.com. And what we're going to do before we even get started with this, because we know we're going to do a couple of updates, first we're going to find out exactly what we need to do, and then we're going to back everything up. So number one, you're going to log into your WordPress site, whatever your domain is, .com/wp-admin, and get you logged in to the back end. And once you're in, you're going to see something like this. There may be a bunch of stuff down your left rail if you have a crazy fancy theme, or it might be pretty simple like this one, but you can see that we do have some updates that we need to accommodate here. So I'm going to get into the plugins and see what needs updating here, and you can see there are a few. Each one of these that has the pink background needs to be updated, and so your instinct may very well be just to click update now or hit them all and update them, but don't do that because you can easily crash your site by doing that. So step one, when you're going to make these updates for WordPress or your plugins, is to go into your hosting account. In this case, it's just simple shared GoDaddy hosting, and make sure you have a backup, because if and when you ever crash the site, and if you work with enough WordPress sites enough times, you will, you need to have a backup in place so that you can restore it if you need to. So cPanel is the easiest way to do this. So I've logged into my GoDaddy account and gone to cPanel management for this particular website, and I'm just going to go over to the backup section, and what you do is download and create a full backup. That way you have the database and the file set. So in the worst case scenario, you can't log into your site to the back end and it's white screening on the front end, you can at least know that you can restore the site from your full backup. So do that first, and then you can come back here and let these updates rip. So what I like to do is, instead of doing them en masse, I like to do them one at a time. That way, if there is a problem with an update or there's some kind of a theme conflict, you know which one caused it. So just one at a time, go through. This is a really stable plugin, so usually you have no problems with that. And after it's updated, I'll just do a quick Command R on my Mac just to reload the page and make sure that everything is loading properly. You can even flip open a new tab just to make sure the site comes up. And you can also try a different browser, preferably one that's clean with the cache and cookies cleared, just to make sure the site comes up and that there's no problems based on your updates. So then just move down through. Now, whenever you have these builder plugins, Bakery or Beaver Builder or anything like that, these can cause problems. So when you update those, if something's going to happen, it's going to be something with something like this, in my experience. So just update those. It might take a little longer than a simple light plugin, but let that update and then do the same thing. Just check it real quick. It should be easy to do. So we'll let that one churn and burn for just a minute. And as soon as it's updated, we're just going to quickly refresh the page, make sure that it comes back the way it's supposed to. And I'm going to refresh the page in another browser. You can go through the step of clearing your cache each time you do that. May or may not be necessary, but maybe a good thing to do. So we're going to update the next one. And we're basically going to proceed like this one at a time. If anything happens and it's some kind of a conflict happens with one of them, then you can go back and address it. If it is one particular plugin that caused a problem, you can deactivate it. And a lot of times that'll at least let you get back in or something like that. So I'm going to leave this one here even though it's not activated, because it's a feature that we may use at some point on the site. So I'm going to keep it updated just to make sure that it's functioning properly, and if we do ever use it, that it's the latest version. And of course, Ninja Forms, we'll get that one updated. And then this right here, if you're going to get hosting and you have a serious business site, I would suggest WP Engine hosting. But for a quick hobby site or something, GoDaddy is just fine. GoDaddy recommends really simple SSL plugin just to make sure that your cert is functioning properly. If you get WP Engine hosting or something more substantial than GoDaddy shared hosting, you're not going to use this. And it may actually cause a conflict with other hosting. So just be mindful of that. Little tip, but we'll get that updated. And once these are all done and all of our plugins are updated, then I'm going to go do the Big Daddy. And this is also where your site can break, so that initial database and file set backup is super important. So I'm going to dive into WordPress 5.6, And you can see that they make sure that they tell you the same thing. Make sure you update it. And I'm going to let that go. All right, so we're back and we have the latest version of WordPress running, and I'm just going to do a Command R, get the site refreshed, make sure it's loading properly on the front side, and everything looks like it's working the way it's supposed to work. So we're off to the races. Now there's one other thing I want to address in this update video, and that is where we have various themes on the site. So these are going to show up as updates required for all these themes that we're not using, and there's no reason to have them on here. It just bloats up the site. So what I would do is, if you're not using any of these themes, I would go in, click theme details, and just delete them one at a time. So go through here and do it. Some of these are GoDaddy default themes. This one's 2019. This will come in your default WordPress kit when you first install it. Just go through them and delete them one at a time, and it'll just clean up the admin side of your site, and you won't constantly be seeing updates required because these won't be in there. So just go through and get rid of all of them, and you'll have a nice clean appearance and then theme sections on your site. So that's it. That's how to update your plugins and WordPress. The most important takeaway, I think, is to make sure you have a database and file set backup. So even if you don't know what to do with it if you do crash the site, at least you'll have it. So when you call support, you'll be able to say, yes, I have a complete backup. So that's it. All right, stay tuned for the next tips and tricks from Conversion Pipeline, and we'll catch you next time.